I'll just go through the first one just quickly because it's a pretty obvious one. We have some notes for you, which we can distribute later on as well. But what we do with goals is obviously defining the overall goal for the season. And we do that in a very materialistic way. Now, you probably do this. I mean, does everyone do this? You sit down at the beginning of the season, you work out with your team, what do you want? Okay. Where we take that then is we work out, well, what are the values which are going to underpin that goal? And so values are the things which become really important to the team. Now, why are values critical? Because it defines your standard of behaviour. And such values as we value being professional, we value being respectful, we value trust, relentless, high performance, whatever words you want to come up with. But the next step is to take those values, because you ever notice that if they're just values, they're just a set of words which the players may not remember anyway. I mean, student athletes today especially have a lot going on, don't they? And so we create a model where we put the words in terms of those values, and then we work out, well, what are the behaviours which link to those values? And we work out the behaviours that we want and the behaviours that we don't want. Because what we've noticed today is that you can't assume that all of your student athletes who turn up on your program have been taught all the necessary values and behaviours to produce a high performance. You can't assume that people just know this stuff. You can't assume that this is common knowledge, right? That you should turn up on time. That you shouldn't do all of these things off field to potentially undermine your performance on it. You can't assume that people just know this. And so we draw a line and we write down, right, what are the above the line behaviours and what are the below the line behaviours? So for example, if you were to give me an example of an above the line behaviour, so that is a behaviour that you want that may relate to the value of, let's say, respect. What would be an above the line behaviour, something that you actually want the players to do? What do you think?
Be punctual.
What's that one?
Be punctual.
Okay, simply be punctual. And so a below the line behaviour, then you must state it once again, would be being late. More than 5 minutes late. Or another above the line behaviour that shows respect in regards to time. I was chatting to some coaches the other day, and in the storming stage of their development, the first sign that suggests that they're in the storming stage is the athletes, instead of going through the right processes of telling the coach, look, I'm going to be late for practice tomorrow because I've got an additional study this afternoon, or whatever the case may be, instead of actually phoning through or sending a text message, which is part of their rules and processes, they stop doing it. But the coach is onto it, and so, because they have defined that. But that's an example of a below-the-line behaviour. Okay? And so you'll eventually work out some key behaviours for above and below the line for each one of the values. So being very specific about that. Now,